Okay, let's dive into this. Picture a geopolitical earthquake. You know, the kind of event that intelligence agencies secretly game plan for years, hoping to God it never actually happens. Well, today, we're going to explore one of those exact scenarios. Now, let's be absolutely clear from the get-go. What we're about to walk through is a strategic simulation. It's a what if, based on real-world tensions and analysis, not a breaking news report. Think of this as getting a seat in the war room for a high-level briefing on what could happen if one single critical domino falls in the Middle East. And there it is, the message that changes everything, flashing across secure channels. In one single, incredibly precise strike, Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, is just gone. The head of the snake has been cut off. And that single event is the spark that could set the entire region on fire. So that really is the central question here, isn't it? When the ultimate final authority in a massive nation of 90 million people is just erased, what comes next? Is it an orderly transition of power, or is it pure, unfiltered chaos? Let's trace those first ripples. That first shockwave absolutely rips through Tehran. At first, there are denials, confusion, but then the news becomes undeniable. The regime is headless. But this wasn't some random act. No, this was a calculated move, a very modern and very brutal strategy for regime change. And just look at the unbelievable precision here. It wasn't just Khamenei. It was his hand-picked successor for wartime, the defense minister and the powerful commander of the IRGC, the entire top tier of the command structure, just wiped off the board in one move. An attack this effective suggests something deeply unsettling. It almost certainly had to have come with a major betrayal from inside Iran itself. And what this reveals is a new American playbook. I mean, after the incredibly painful lessons learned in Iraq and Afghanistan, the idea of a massive boots-on-the-ground invasion is it's a non-starter. It costs way too much in both blood and treasure. So the new model is decapitation. You don't occupy the country, you surgically remove its leadership, and then you use the chaos that follows to force their successors to the negotiating table. So, with the old guard gone, this massive power vacuum just opens up in the heart of Tehran. And we all know that both nature and politics cannot stand a vacuum. So immediately, two major factions start scrambling to fill that void, kicking off a desperate battle for the very soul of Iran. On one side, you have the reformists, and they're led by the current president, Masoud Pezeshkian. Their goal is radical, a second Iranian republic, something more like Turkey, where the elected president is the real head of state. They're ready to talk to the West. And on the other side, the conservatives. They want to preserve the system, resist the West at all costs, and set up a kind of leadership council to keep their grip on power. Now, that reformist camp has some names you'll probably recognize. These are figures who have a long track record of dealing with the West. You've got President Pezeshkian, you have former President Rouhani, and his foreign minister Javad Zarif, the very same guys who hammered out the original nuclear deal. This is the team that's ready and willing to negotiate. But, of course, talking comes with a steep price. The United States isn't just a spectator here. It's ready to dictate the terms of surrender to whoever manages to come out on top of this internal struggle. So what exactly is on that list of demands? And the demands are huge. It's not a negotiation between equals. For any new government to get international recognition and have sanctions lifted, it has to completely dismantle its nuclear and ballistic missile programs. It has to cut off all funding to its proxies like Hezbollah and the Houthis. It must break its alliances with Russia and China. And, to top it all off, it has to open its economy to American investment. We're talking about a total, fundamental realignment of the entire country. But here's the thing. While the politicians in Tehran are fighting for control of the capital, a much, much more dangerous crisis is erupting all across the country. That power vacuum at the center, it's the starting gun for the periphery to try and break away. Iran, which is really a multi-ethnic empire, starts to crack apart at the seams. And the scale of this is it's staggering. We are talking about more than 9 major, credible separatist movements, each with its own language, its own history, its own dreams of nationhood, all of them suddenly seeing this once-in-a-century chance to make a break for it. So let's look at the 4 biggest players here. In the southeast, you have the Baloch, and they want control of the strategic Chabahar port, which is Iran's main gateway to the Indian Ocean. In the northwest, the Azeris dream of uniting with their cousins in Azerbaijan. In the West, the Kurds see their best chance yet to finally establish a state of their own. And down in the Southwest, the Arabs want to seize Iran's oil-rich provinces. Every single one of these secessions would be a devastating blow to Iran. And just to give you a sense of the stakes, if only the Baloch region manages to break away, Iran essentially loses its primary access to the Indian Ocean. Its second most important port is gone. Its ambitions of being a major maritime trading power are over. And remember, that's just one of at least 9 potential fractures. You know, it's not just about ethnicity either. The country's also this complex mosaic of different religious groups. The ruling establishment is Shia, yeah, but there are huge Sunni populations, especially among the Kurds and the Baloch. Plus, you have Christians, Zoroastrians, and others. These religious fault lines just add another explosive layer to this potential breakup. So as Iran starts to fracture from within, its neighbors are watching all of this in absolute horror. The chaos is already starting to spill over the borders, and it's forcing the Gulf states into a really, really tough position. In a last desperate gasp, remnants of the old regime have fired a barrage of missiles at their Gulf neighbors. I mean, the UAE alone reportedly intercepted over 130 missiles. We're talking about critical infrastructure, ports like Jebel Ali, airports, even hotels in the UAE, Bahrain, and Kuwait, all being hit. Suddenly, the Gulf is directly under fire. And this attack just shatters any sense of unity in the Gulf Cooperation Council. The UAE, having taken the brunt of the attacks, is demanding an immediate, full-scale military intervention. They're arguing, look, the Iranian bogeyman is weak, now is the time to finish it. But Saudi Arabia is hesitating, trying to calculate the massive economic cost of a war. And other states, like Qatar and Oman, are firmly against it, saying they need to work with whatever new government comes next, not declare war on it. And right into the middle of this heated debate steps a major regional power, Egypt. And their message to the Gulf states is blunt: do not get dragged into this. They're arguing that the short-term pain of these missile strikes is nothing compared to the long-term devastation of a regional war. They are the voice of caution, warning the Gulf states not to become the villains of the story. And now, the chaos in Iran ripples out even further, onto the global stage. It's creating a power vacuum that the world's great powers are all rushing to fill. It's basically a new chessboard for a 21st century great game. The two main players here are, no surprise, the United States and Russia. The U.S. goal is simple: use this crisis to install a friendly, pro-Western government and pull Iran away from Russia and China. But for Russia, this isn't just a strategic setback, it's an existential threat. A pro-Western Iran means a hostile power on the shores of the Caspian Sea, which is vital to Russia's security. And this, right here, is Russia's absolute red line. The moment it looks like the Iranian state is truly collapsing, Putin won't think twice. He will order the Russian army to occupy Iran's northern province to secure that Caspian coastline, just like he's done in other parts of the world. And suddenly, the risk of a direct clash between American and Russian forces on Iranian soil becomes terrifyingly real. So we're left with this enormous question. The fall of one man hasn't just kicked off a political crisis. It has unleashed all these historical and ethnic forces that have been bottled up for decades. So will a new pragmatic regime somehow rise from these ashes and hold the country together? Or are we witnessing the final violent dissolution of an ancient empire, one that will redraw the map of the Middle East forever? The answer is dangerously uncertain.